Hola, compañeros. It's your old pal, King Wasp Raider, and welcome back to Total Party Skills. Be sure to hit subscribe. I actually feel like there might be reason to be making more D&D content again. And that's because of one D&D, and not because one D&D sounds like a good idea at all. It just sounds like watered down Skyrim, as opposed to 5th edition's Oblivion, as opposed to original TSR D&D's Morrowind, shall we say. There's a bright silver lining to the whole thing. I know the last two videos I've made about 1D&D are kind of looking at the negative aspects of it. But there is one thing about it that's kind of cool, and it's that it makes 5th edition cool again. Last year when they first announced that there was going to be D&D Evolution, I basically felt that, by announcing this so far ahead of time, you're basically declaring 5th edition a dead brand that's not really going to get wholehearted support, or anything else that gets put out between now and then is going to kind of be jiggered in such a way that, you can adapt it to the next version of the product. Kind of like, if you recall, towards the end of 4th edition's run, they had put out a book for Menzoberranzan that was stripped out of game rule specifics that you can use it just as easily for 5th edition as you could as a 4th edition source book. And so whatever the Spelljammer that just came out, which I haven't seen yet, or the Dragonlance I keep hearing rumors is coming, is probably going to be geared so that it can be used with the 1D&D stuff. But since they've told us that, 1D&D will be backwards compatible with 5th edition stuff, that means that you don't have to buy any of whatever the new 1D&D rule books in order to be able to still use 1D&D source books that you might find of interest for your 5th edition games. This also means that it's going to siphon off the normies, the trend hoppers, the starfuckers, the people who are only into the hobby because they saw it on a TV show and they think it's something cool that they would like to do, but they don't really like it. Those people, the people who got into D&D because they have been just, watching people play on Twitch and stuff like that, they know who I'm talking about. Some real nerds have emerged from this crowd, certainly, but, some of them don't really have what it takes to really declare that they have true, honest-to-God nerd cred. Not like Total Party Skills. Be sure to hit like and subscribe and up your nerd cred just by being someone who would actually listen to any of my shit. It's going to siphon them off. That whole new crop of players who's about to come in because of this stupid Chris Pine movie, they're all going to end up playing 1D&D. The interesting people that, as they say in the 1D&D announcement video, they're going to go off to go play 1D&D. And that's going to leave 5th edition for the people who just liked 5th edition as it was when it first came out and don't necessarily approve of all this, vaguely political, watered down, do what you will, throw your hands up in the air and just give up on having any sort of baseline parameters for characters and just, have people make their character up on the spot. Why even roll attributes? Just have everyone start off with ability scores of 18 and everything, and then get a +2 bonus to 6 attributes of choice. And let them choose what level they want to start at. Why start at level 1? You be you. You declare for yourself. Only you know in your heart of heart what your fictional player character that you just made in the last 5 minutes really, has in their back history to justify their skill. So just be whatever level you want. And leave 5th edition for the I don't know, I guess we're not the grognards since we're not still hung up on playing 1st edition fucking D&D or basic Beckme D&D. Those people have largely been, satisfied by the OSR games anyway, so... But there's kind of a neo-grognard type. The people, who are a little bit older, who liked 4th edition a little bit, but not very much, and really liked 5th edition, and didn't necessarily, want 5th edition to be, altered as much as it already has. Although, albeit, like, we are talking about things that are on scale. It's not like it's entirely, like, warped out of all recognition yet. Because, you know, a lot of these make your own character kind of stuff, come up with your own character race, come up with your own character concept, kind of rules. They're still optional as of now, but they're going to be baked in to 1D&D. And so, you know, we can just all say miss me with that noise about all that and just stick to the game we like. And as 1D&D puts out products that can still be retrofit to be used by 5th edition, great. There's also a ton of like OSR stuff out there, and, you know, open game license, OGL stuff that's written specifically for 5th edition already. I myself have an OSR setting called Orc and Bone that would work extremely easily with 5th edition rules, so you should check that out on Amazon. And or Drive-Thru RPG, Orc plus Bone, the symbol plus, not plus as in spelling it out, P-L-U-S, Orc plus Bone. Adventures in the Post-Human World. Yeah, you know, like I said, there's a bright lining here. It means that we get 5th edition back. And all these noobs and normies who have come to the game for all their own reason, well, they can go play 1D&D now, can't they? So anyway, I guess on that note, once again, hit subscribe and stay waspinated.